This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Hawke's Bay, a community access media station. Thank you to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.
Hi, Gail here. You're with Radio Hawke's Bay, and we are the middle of November. Sorry, my voice is a bit croaky, and I think that's probably just how it is. So we are 2024. We have been through most of this year. Can you believe it? We are so close to Christmas and so close to the end of the year. And for some of you, you may think, wow, thank goodness for that. This has been one of those years that has been a roller coaster plus, on a fun ride, but not. And there's reasons for that. You know, look a little bit into the year of the dragon. It is a lucky year. We are year 8, so that is also to do with magician energy. It is to do with the heavens and the earth, so it's the universe working with you. And believe it or not, every single thing that's happened to you this year has been that the universe is helping you. And sometimes that can exhibit itself in ways where your life goes through upheavals or challenges or disruptions. And these can be really challenging, very uncomfortable, and very what is going on type of thing. So there's a lot been going on this year, and we've talked a little bit through the year around the things that are happening astrologically, like the sun. We've got solar flares this year that have been out of this world, really, in their magnitude, their effect on the planet, on the energy around the planet, the earth itself, us. So, you know, you will have felt pulled, pushed, poked, prodded, perhaps, and all that kind of thing. So if you have had any type of physical problem, maybe even your mind, you've been thinking things you wouldn't normally have been thinking. Maybe you've been feeling emotionally different. It might just be an overall feeling of, I just don't feel the same way about my job anymore as I did before, or a relationship. It's my feelings have altered, they've changed. I just don't have that same type of connection. It could be a stronger connection that you have, a deeper one. It could be one where you are perhaps looking at a clearer picture of the way the relationship dynamic, your place in that relationship dynamic. Neither of this is good or bad. None of it says it's to, make you change things unless you feel motivated to change things. It's simply your perception. Your way of viewing things has altered slightly, and it can make us feel a little uncomfortable. But it's just different. It's just different. And this year, it's a little bit like, this is different. This is how we're seeing the world. We are going, and I've said this before, we're going from 3D to 5D, 3-dimension to 5-dimension. Think of it this way. 3 density, so as in 3 is a very dense energy. This is our money, this is our work, this is our anger issues, this is our sorting out problems, this is our challenges. This is the 3D reality of the world that we have lived in. If you're as old as me, you've lived through that 3D reality, and we're kind of moved into the 4th dimensional reality. So we've still got the 3D going on. We're in the 4th, but we are transitioning this year into the 5th. So we're not just jumping from 3D to 5D. 5 being a lighter density than the 3 density and the 3 dimension. So what that means is that we are all, as an entire humanity, we are all evolving our consciousness. A lot of you may have had little aha moments this year, or little wake-up situations, getting you to look at your life, look at what's going on, see your life more clearly. That is a wake-up moment, an awakening, as it can be referred to as well. And seeing with clarity your life, your situations, gives you the power to make decisions, changes that help you. Now, the reality of this year is we've had a lot of solar activity. Our moon has actually been far more potent this year. We know the moon affects tides. We know it affects our minds, makes us a little bit kind of daydreamy, or a bit kind of like loopy, or, memory issues type of thing. But the moon phases, the full moons, the new moons, the eclipses, have had a much more profound effect this year than any other year, because we are in an 8 year. So 8 is the more powerful frequency energy of everything. It means everything matters more. Everything seems to be more important. It affects us more on a deeper level. So the moon energy is something that affects our emotions. And, you will know this, particularly if you have been feeling a little angrier than normal toward a situation or a person. You may even have expressed that, or done things you wouldn't normally do because of those emotions and strong emotions. So what is happening to you this year? You may have actually experienced actual physical problems. Could be health problems, could be just breaking out in a rash. It could be having hay fever when you've never had hay fever in your life before. It could be that you're having problems with an organ in your body that has been fine up until now, or there's some sort of dis-ease that has shown itself. And remember that dis-ease is not at ease with something in yourself or in your life. That is dis-ease. It shows itself physically as a last resort when it hasn't been seen. Your physical body this year is showing you very, very clearly what problems that you have, what you need to address. And I understand we're not taught how to do all of these things, but it can be helpful to learn about how your anatomy is affected by your thoughts, beliefs, feelings, not just environment. So if the more you know and understand, the more it can help you address these problems. Every physical discomfort and dis-ease that you have has an underlying, perhaps unconscious, problem, trauma, issue, or feeling that's been carried with you for a whole lot of years, and it's just expressing itself. If it's this year, it's very important. Everything this year is very important. It's more important than other years to notice, to address, to fix in some way. So you will have maybe thinking, why do I think this way? I never have thought this way in my life before. Why am I thinking this about this particular thing? Why am I just judging things? And I haven't judged things before, because this can be a bit of a judgy year. And a lot of people out there are judging other people on their actions and on their behaviours. And that is because we have this labeling system. So the energy that's coming in this year is very powerful. It's very impactful. It is very light. So guess what the light does? It shows all the shadows. It shows all of the things that need to be lit up, need to be, cleared. So the shadows are your issues, your unresolved problems, your misguided beliefs, your negative views on any situation in life, relationships or money or health or family or world politics or whatever it is. So if you've ever had issues around anything this year, they will be highlighted in some way to you. Maybe a political one will be highlighted in the dynamic of your family. It will be highlighted in a way that you can perceive and clearly see it. So it could be relationship as well. So you have all this light coming in onto the planet to bring the energy of the planet from 3D to 5D reality. And with all the solar flare activity, the moon activity, the actual energy around us becomes more fully charged as well. We are feeling beings. We get affected by somebody if someone's angry. If we're in the room long enough with them, no matter how happy we were, we're going to feel it. So can you imagine the entire planet's energy vibrating in a very kind of like intense high wavelength that changes and shifts every now and again because of all of this external activity from the sun and the moon? It means you may feel a little bit displaced even in your life this year. Things won't feel as familiar, and that is why you will feel displaced. In every area of your life you may feel this way. So there is another aspect too, that you may be this year, because they say, the veil becomes thinner, so between this three-dimension that we are living in, this reality that we are living, there are other realities outside this, and we know that because people pass away, and we know that they communicate with us because we can feel them around us, or we get little signs that they've been around us with things that they used to do. There is a connection that is easier now for us to reach, to connect with, in a different reality than just our everyday reality. And for many of you, you may have been experiencing some of those, what we would say would be intuitive, psychic kind of experiences, spiritual experiences, things that perhaps you can't explain. Sometimes we can just see a flash of light out the corner of our eye, and that in actual fact is someone in spirit that is showing themselves to you. It's generally in your peripheral vision, so the moment you take notice of it, it disappears. If you have had anything that you've kind of seen or thought you've imagined, and then it's kind of like, oh no, that's not what it is, you have psychically intuited that you have seen. If you can hold on to that you have seen even in your mind and register it in your mind, it will give you some sort of additional information or input into your everyday reality. It could be a situation that you're dealing with. It could be something you've been focused on, wanting to know about. It could be anything like that. It could simply just be someone in spirit saying hi. So for my mum, one of her most favourite things were these beautiful deep red roses. And so every time I see a red rose, it's generally in my moments of not thinking about anything else, when I'm actually doing something completely different. And it's been in my garden, which has been special because there would be one red rose. That was it. No buds, just one red rose that was absolutely open, full, all on its own. And then more recently, I had a different rose bush, which was a very small one. It's a very old one. And it's also that beautiful red that my mum would love. And there weren't one but three that came out on that. I suspect that will be all that comes out on that one. And since the first red rose on the other rose came out, no other red roses come out, not even budding. And that's unusual because all my other rose bushes are budding. So the next time a red rose comes out on there, I know Mum's saying that she's close, and stay hopeful and focus on positive things and all that kind of stuff. And that things will be okay as a reassurance. So your loved ones are coming in around about now too, because we are coming into December. And so perhaps I'm talking about this because you will see or have some sort of indication that you have a loved one in spirit saying hello, joining in on the festivities, maybe going away with you on a trip if you're having to go somewhere on your own for company. And we are never alone. That is the truth of it. We always have loved ones in spirit around us. It is their joy for us to feel good and to be happy. So they want to aid us in that. So this year as well, you may be having some of these experiences in your dreams because the veil is so thin between this three-dimensional reality and other reality. Then you may actually be receiving information from your subconscious and superconscious while you sleep. So it is not random if you dream about someone who has passed over and that you are meeting them in a dream and that it's as if you really are, they're there, and it doesn't seem odd or different at all until you absolutely go, hang on a minute, you're not alive anymore. Generally, though, it's you just carry on as if it's normal. You're seeing someone, or you're doing whatever you're doing, and it's a lovely connection and reassurance that person is around. And if you focus on just the good things that you get out of every experience, it won't feel so uncomfortable if you are just feeling a little spacey, a little bit strange or odd. These are all symptoms of lifting and elevating your consciousness of being. We're doing this all the time. You know, we do it even when we're growing up in different experiences in our life. Our consciousness shifts, grows, expands, and we learn more, know more. We wake up to things. So it's called an awakening. Fancy words, but it's really normal, real experiences that are natural to us as a being on this planet. So how else might you be feeling some of this? Oh yeah, that's right. It's the emotional stuff that will be going on for you as well. But the emotional stuff is very, let's say, very tricksy, very, very kind of uncomfortable. Allow it to come up. So we said about the light. So the light has shone very brightly this year. the light has shone on you very brightly this year, right into the deepest recesses within your being. So you have different layers of being, and at the very core of your being, where you form your core beliefs about yourself, money, the world, relationships, this light is actually shining in there and seeking out anything that is negative and bringing it to the surface. So however you're feeling frustrated or done with something or not patient about things, these are old emotions that are being brought to the surface. Do you know what you have to do? All you've got to do is acknowledge them. So, okay, so this is part of me. Appreciate that it was there because it's helped you survive up until this point. Believe it or not, it's helped you defend yourself. It's helped you manage, navigate, be tactical about what you have to do, succeed in, and solve in your life. So recognize it and then appreciate it, so that you don't thank it for the negativeness that it is. You thank it for the benefits that it brought to you, because it did. And if you really wanted to look at it, you could see how that negative aspect of yourself benefited you. And I've talked about this with you guys before about my anger as I was growing up, huge anger, and could never see any benefit whatsoever to anger, and hated myself for years because I would get so angry, until I was unwell. I'd been unwell for a long time. I needed to do the vacuuming. I've told this story before, but I'm just going to say it again, that I hadn't done the vacuuming for weeks. I had a group coming around. I had to do it. I just knew I had to do it. And I had been curious about how the anger was helpful for anything, but that was weeks before, so I'd forgotten about it. Just that I had to do the vacuuming, so I asked the universe, how am I going to do the vacuuming? And I woke up in the morning and I felt wonderful. I felt absolutely fabulous, full of joy. And the moment my feet hit the floor, this absolute anger came over me. And enough that I really noticed the change, because I can go around blind, seriously, and not notice things for a long time afterwards. But it was so profoundly different to the joy I was feeling. This anger and this intenseness of anger, I had no reason to be angry. Nothing had made me angry, so I couldn't blame anything. And I was like, why am I so angry? The moment I asked that question, I got, you wanted to do the vacuuming. And I'm like, I'm too angry to do the vacuuming. And I pretty much walked around like that for a minute. And then I got this tap on the shoulder again. And that was like, just do it. So I did the vacuuming, finished the vacuuming, put the vacuum cleaner away, realised I wasn't angry anymore. And so I went, oh, okay, pottled off and did whatever I had to do. Then I get the voice and it says, see, that's what anger is useful for, getting things done. And that is where turn anger into action came for me. And it was very empowering. So my anger never overwhelmed me again after that. It was seen and recognised when it came, and it had a message. So therefore the message was, well, I can do something with this, or is there something else I need to know about why I'm angry? I'm very curious, always have been very, very curious about why I feel what I feel, why I go through what I go through, why I need to even, and what information there is behind it, because everything is full of information. So the light this year is shining itself on all your flaws, all your difficulties, all your traumas, all your pain. It's bringing it to the surface, not to be flung at other people, please. Definitely never, ever at another person, because you're still flinging it at yourself, because we are all connected people, you know? So anything you fling at somebody else, you're actually flinging at yourself. And then you've got to look at yourself and go, why would I do that to myself? And recognizing it, saying thank you for what you've helped me with. Even if you don't know what that was, doesn't matter. Just go, yeah, okay, appreciate that. Yeah, I needed you. Now I do not. I release you. And this is where you let go. You let go of it needing to be held within you anymore for any reason. And that way you elevate your consciousness. That way you remove your being from the feeling even of attacking another person. And once you, or judging, because the judging bit is the big bit, because we're taught to judge. We label everything. That's a judgment. Otherwise, mind you, we wouldn't know sun is sun and moon is moon, would we, if we didn't label them that way? But we've judged them by doing that. So everything just is. And if an experience comes up, the way you can look at it is here for a reason. It is here to be useful. And how can I navigate this with my head held high? We've talked about this year about holding your head high. So on that note, we are going to move into part 2. If you want to get in touch with me, if you have anything you're curious about or why these things are happening in your life, for you personally, contact me, 027 4166 545. This is Radio Hawke's Bay, and we will be back with part 2 with Sonya very shortly. Namaste. Hi, welcome to part 2. This is Life Coaching with Gaeil. We are Radio Hawke's Bay and we are with Sonya.
Hi.
How are you, darling?
Doing really well.
Awesome. Nice to hear. Tricky year, as we've heard.
Absolutely, it has been a tricky year.
Yeah, and yes. November is the month we focus on self.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I found what you were saying before about transitioning from 3D to 5D quite interesting. And I thought today maybe we could delve a little bit more into that and talk about the relationship between the inner and outer realities. You were saying that what's happening out there is affecting us here on the earth, and how we could be really feeling those things this year in particular. Are there any practices or things that people can do to kind of help through this transition period?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's as simple as peace.
Right. Okay.
You know, so meditation is one of the tools.
Yes.
That is really, really helpful this year. And mainly because it helps you, your being, inner, outer being as well, your conscious, subconscious, superconscious, to realign with the frequency in a very quiet, uncluttered space. So even just sitting quietly on your own with no disruptions, and for those of you out there busy with children,
yes.
I have known people who have gone and sat in their car.
Right.
In the garage.
Yes.
In the car, in the garage.
So take yourself away.
Or take yourself away if you can't drive the car and want to save petrol, in the car.
Yes.
And with just some very light sort of dreamy kind of music. So there's a lot of meditation musics out there.
Yes.
And really just even playing those can just help to, what do you call it? Blend and soothe all the vibrations, because some of them are very intense, very sharp.
Yes.
Very discomforting, because there's sharp and there's soft and there's something comes sideways and then something else, some other vibration, and generally it's people.
Yes.
It's different people reacting in different ways, the way they're coping with, the way they express it, and their behaviours can be very impacting on us, you know?
Yes, very much so. So what kind of happens if we don't allow the transition? You know, if we're not open to receiving that change from 3D to 5D, is there going to be a
good point? Because think of going against the flow.
Right.
Okay, so it's going to be
very
more
difficult.
challenging. It's more difficult to understand, more frustrating. It'll make you more annoyed about the things in your life that need to change.
Okay.
So transition happens automatically.
Yes.
Okay? You don't make transition. Transition is happening to you.
Yes.
And you can go along with it. Absolutely. You're going to go, I don't like this, or this is not what I planned for my life.
Yes.
Okay? It is going to make you feel those feelings. If you recognise the feelings, just like I was saying before, and you then go, well, what is this about? Like, almost like just let it be, it is what it is, because it is existing.
Yes.
Are you going to challenge it? And like, there's rebels in all of us.
Yes.
It's just not wise this year of all years to challenge those kinds of things because they will hurt you.
Right.
You know, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They will, it'll be just a whole lot more difficult.
And that's because of the potency of the number 8 and the
And
other
the
things,
dragon
and the solar flares and the other things that are happening cosmically.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah, and we're also at the end of a 26,000 year cycle as a Earth planet.
Okay.
So we're going into a whole new energy era.
Yes.
But it's a wonderful one.
For those out there who would be saying, well, I feel some of those things every day, and, you know, how do we know? Or because, as you said, the transition is happening to you. So going from the 3D to the 5D, some people might think, well, I'm feeling that now, or what's really the difference, or what's really going to change? When you think, well, every year's kind of, I feel these things every year, or I go through waves of this all the time, what's going to be the real rocker things that people will experience or feel?
So we go through phases.
Yes.
Okay, we go through phases of enlightenment, of that transformation, of that elevated consciousness. So we do that at different phases depending on our astrology and our biorhythms and all that kind of thing. We go through that anyway. And there's been a preparation period of about 7 years up to this point. We couldn't have come into this year cold. You know, it would have broken a lot of us.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we've been pushed, encouraged, if you like, put through transformative phases prior to this. And I say 7 years, but for some people it's been 12 years. You know, it's been there's been a lot of stuff happening, but this year it's kind of like comes to a head. If you know, think of a boil that starts. Sorry, it's not a very nice analogy, but think of a boil, and you know, it gets red and then it forms a head, and so this year is the head.
Right.
So this year is when things actually start to kind of become more meaningful. Like they matter. Everything is more meaningful in the energy shifts we're experiencing.
Yes.
So we are going into an Aquarius aspect. Like, so the age of Aquarius started in 2000, but we are going into an Aquarius aspect January. Okay.
Yes.
And this is going to it's going to be very interesting depending on your horoscope, your own personal astrology and how it will affect you. But Aquarius is the innovator, the inventor, the inspirer. It's the life changer. So many people in history have been Aquarians.
Yes.
Born in the sign of Aquarius, it's but this is on a global level. This is the world. Our next 3 years in the world are very significant up to 2027. So that is 3 years. Yes. So these are the ones where we notice people focusing more toward the greater good, more toward the humanitarian aspect.
Right.
More toward, there'll be the big space exploration stuff. There'll be the technology, like mega boom. I mean, yes, we had GI. See, that's the AI. We had the AI, but the Chat GTP. Okay,
yes.
Sorry about that. Aspect of it that came in before, but that's a preparation
yes.
for what is coming with the technological aspects of what's possible. But they'll be more toward what helps people.
Yes. Yes. So definitely looking more towards the service of helping, the betterment, the greater
and I've
picture.
Yeah, and I know that we will feel more connected to our neighbour. I know we will feel more connected to a stranger. I know that after this year where people perhaps have felt a bit hateful or a bit annoyed toward other people, they will feel more understanding because there'll be a recognition they don't like that part of themselves. They don't like that part of themselves that has hurt somebody else. And I'll tell you what, though, the ones that still insist on it will feel the pain of others much more clearly, that they cause pain too, than
right.
they've ever felt before.
Right. So they will be very aware of
their own thoughts and their actions.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's all of us. I mean, we're all in the same boat,
yes.
So it is that elevation in thinking as well is to be careful of your thoughts because they will kind of have a reverberating effect, and that means that whatever you put out there, you are in some way damaging yourself by doing it because you will feel it actually
yes.
or experience it in your life in some ways.
My mother used to say, be careful of your thoughts because they'll come back tenfold.
Yes, that's right, and this is the truth of it.
Yes.
But it's like not able to be ignored anymore, almost like, oops, I know I mucked up. And, I'll try not to do that again type of thing,
yes.
like a self-realisation.
Yes.
Mm.
And that doesn't have to be hateful either. I think self-realisation is a very powerful tool. I think it's amazing that we have the ability to have reflection and the ability to move forward with a different outlook or viewpost on something. We have the ability to change our minds. And
we do.
And, that's one of the remarkable things about being a human being.
And the self-realisation doesn't come on its own.
No.
Self-realisation means you go,
yes,
I'll do better next time.
Yes.
Because you realising something is that you recognise the whole of it. So, yeah, it's cool. I like that we're all going to be much more aware of the impact we have on ourselves through the impact that we put out there onto other people,
yes.
I like that because it seems to me that it's been years of no consequences,
yes.
where people can do whatever they like and nothing happens,
Yes.
We look at it with the law and we look at it with learning and we look at it with throwaway comments that people say that they seem to get away with. But you see that accountability this year is interesting because people are just putting blame on other people They are doing things that pretty much this year people saying it's not okay anymore. So almost like a dividing line this year of acceptable behaviour and non-acceptable behaviour, so that going forward next year we will be a bit more mindful. And for some people, like, this doesn't just go click. You know, you don't necessarily. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it's a slow dawning of reality and realising things rather than that sharp
instant
wake up.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have had wake up calls this year.
They have. So what can we be looking at as the shift carries on? Could there be physiological effects that, can we possibly feel things within our bodies through the shift from 3D to 5D?
Absolutely. And as you were saying that, I've got somebody standing right here. It came in twinkling. Well, I like the twinkling.
Yes.
So our physiology absolutely is affected by everything, every part of energy that's going on now. So yeah, we are changing. We are transforming.
Yes.
We are on every level, in every way that we know and don't know.
Yes.
It's all very positive because it all makes us more knowledgeable.
Yes.
I was going to say more enlightened. So what does enlightened mean? It means that we know more. Instinctively, we have a knowledge and a knowing that we don't know where we got that from, but we just know stuff,
That's the high consciousness, isn't it?
It's our higher self, higher consciousness, and it's the link that we have kind of.
It's the link that
accepted.
connects everything in matter, because
It
we're
is.
matter and energy, and I've always seen the higher consciousness as like almost a group of roots, if you can imagine tree roots, and we're all kind of connected in through this energy matter line, into our high consciousness. So we're being fed or educated this from our higher selves, aren't we?
We are,
Yes.
and do you know there are some people who are not linked in with the higher consciousness?
No.
And so this year, that is why all the difficulties, because you're being encouraged to link in with a higher aspect of consciousness, God, universe, creator, energy, source, whatever you want to call it. There's different names and they're all the same. It is all the absolute energy. And, we are embodying that absolute energy. If we choose not to connect with it, it's a tough life on earth.
Yes.
And generally, if you're in any survival situation or any real hardship, you just automatically reach out for help.
Absolutely.
It was about 3 years ago, and Spirit said to me, a lot of people haven't gone to church for years. A lot of people don't believe in God. A lot of people don't believe in any other aspect. Universes, it can be somewhere that people go to, but the people that think that's too fluffy, just tell them to ask thin air.
Yes.
Because we do, if we need help, we go help.
Well, we do, and even on the scientific planes, we can all agree that we're all based on energy and matter.
Science proves
everything
about everything in the psychic intuitive realm.
Yes,
and spiritual realm. Science can prove it now with the quantum aspect of it.
Yes,
and there's still more being found out on a human level, so that's evolving. Like everything evolves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're definitely becoming more educated about our own realities and where we are in this space and time, I suppose.
Yes, which is there are multiple realities,
yes.
And there is no such thing as space and time, and that's why we've got to, like here on Earth, kind of like package everything so that we can understand it and relate to it. Otherwise, we'd all be kind of like calling a clock a shoe, and everyone would get confused. Yes. or or a table or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it is important to have, I suppose,
For this reality.
labels on certain things so we can navigate the world that we live in. As you were saying before about not wanting to have a judgment on something, but we do have to call things so that we all collectively know the planet that we're living in and can navigate that. So
Absolutely. It's like, because it's a dense reality,
Yes.
you know, it's, we do. Otherwise, you know, well, I found that out because I used to think I should be able to walk through walls. Why not?
yes.
Yeah, so I got lots of bruises, didn't I?
Oh, absolutely. Damn walls.
Damn walls. Yeah, but how come? Because it is possible. Everything's energy. Of course we could. If we had that sort of like vibrational frequency where we
Yes.
could vibrate at the exact frequency of that, and we could kind of, you know, have that corresponding frequency where you could go through walls. Why not?
And that brings up another question around the 3D to 5D. Going through to the 5D, will our individual capabilities of our, you know, these sides of us, do we expect them to be enhanced? Can we expect our gifts to be more generally accepted, shared, you know, more people be discovering their own gifts, that kind of thing?
So talking about the psychic side of us, and I use that word just so that people know that intuitive side of us, that psychic side of us. Some people are completely unaware that they have that side of them, and yet it always kicks in.
Yes.
So with that, absolutely, with that elevating of frequency, because we're all being elevated at the same time, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If we're choosing to, and some are permitted to stay in the 3D reality, we talked about that.
Yes.
But it's the frequency, what was it? So I've lost it because I went back to the 3D reality. Your intuitive, psychic gifts, senses, because remember that's your hearing, seeing,
Yes.
smelling, as they're all senses in themselves, absolutely will sharpen and heighten. And a lot of people out there this year who've never seen anything before or had any inkling or used to when they were a child have some sort of psychic sort of experience, have been having them this year because their frequency is elevating and reconnecting and recalibrating with those extra needed, because our
Yes.
intuitive senses keep us alive in danger.
Absolutely.
You know? And we're not always in a safe four-walled room. So, yeah. So anyone who is already, absolutely, that is already aware of their psychic abilities and gifts, they absolutely are being sharpened this year, heightened this year, because if you do have a gift that you are already aware of, if you are a light worker, which means if you are a healer, if you are here to help people in any way, you are being asked this year to step up. And this is one of the reasons relationships are perhaps breaking up.
Yes.
So individuals can find their own kind of like spiritual
Paths.
connections again with their gifts and things,
Yes.
to reevaluate what they want to do going forward that is of service and help to people. Because, yes, a lot of people going through a lot of difficult things they do not understand. If you're already a light worker, you've been through all of that learning and understanding of who you are, what life's about,
Yes.
you know, how you can help others to lift out of that drudgery of every day or the problematic aspect of every day. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, yes, definitely, definitely. More, I feel that it's almost like this year you are being called to attention. You are being told you are on. Start working now.
That sounds wonderful. Hopefully we'll have a lot more light workers in the future.
Well, they're all there. They've just been perhaps sold on the story, I think, of the 3D world where, you know, we have to have money in this existence. That is a reality. Money is energy, though. And so, you know, enlisting our manifesting, and this is the year of manifesting, of creating abundance. So abundance is every single thing you need is there. So it's not like I want more money. Okay, yes, money is one of those things that you need. It's in all areas abundance needs to come, whatever energy form it is. So money is absolutely one of those things. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But if you just focus on the kind of like the money
material type of.
Hey, but look what happened. We've had money you could hold in your fingers, right?
Yes.
And then you'd focus on what you were holding in your fingers. And then it's gone to electronic.
Yes.
People don't even, they look at a number and that's what they focus on is the number. But otherwise it just comes out, you know, when you swipe a card.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Do you feel, there is a real difference too, isn't there, between, as you said, seeing it on a screen, going in and out, and actually holding it in your hand?
Well, there is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's energy and seeing energy in form. There's something magical about seeing energy in form.
Yes.
You know, we are energy in form.
We are.
And so money is energy in form. And it has all of the attachments that come with money, you know. Sometimes the ones about worry about having enough, but others of them is like, oh, I've got money, I can go and spend it on an ice cream or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but money's only one of those energy things. You know, there are a lot of different energy things, and some of those energy things are in cars or furniture, but for some people, the energy needs to be richer than for other people, you know.
Yes.
Some people it's just serviceable, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. And when we are into this 5D world, have you had some kind of vision or thoughts about what that's going to look like? Do you have, just personally, do you have your own personal view of potentially what that's going to be?
So as far as, I just see more kindness, more compassion.
That's very welcoming, isn't it?
And I think it's a little bit around those other things I said a bit earlier, is like that anything that we do that's hurtful or harmful to other people, we're going to feel it much more strongly. It'll give us a conscience. But anyway, it'll also give us a glimpse into what that felt like for that person that we won't be able to ignore. And if we don't deal with it, we'll just carry guilt around it, you know?
Yes.
And I think just carrying guilt around things forces us to, how can I get rid of this feeling? You know, what can I do to fix it? You know, and often it's as easy if you've done something to someone else as an apology.
Yes.
You know, it's pretty much as easy as that. But
that sounds pretty exciting.
So we look forward to perhaps a world where governments are kinder to the people, where perhaps there's more honesty in our food sector about what's in food, what is actually helpful, maybe more, technological advancements into actual health aspects.
Yes.
So lots of different things like that. I mean, there's always been energy options for fueling cars and all sorts of things.
Yes.
It's a dynamically huge mindset change, but I feel it will happen over 10 years.
Yeah.
And you won't recognise this world today, and how we could still be doing the things we're doing to each other by then. But we will see. I do have a bigger picture than that, but it's probably a little out of reach for some people. So, but on that note, thank you, Sonya. That was good to have those questions.
My pleasure.
And if anyone's got any queries or questions, just come talk to either myself or Sonya, and I can be contacted on 027 4166 545 and
mine is 027 492 3530.
yes, and remember, if you want a massage
Yes,
or some healing, contact Sonya.
absolutely. I'd love to hear from you.
Excellent. On that note, have a lovely, lovely couple of weeks, and we will see you back at the beginning of December. Can you believe it?
See you
Namaste.
then.
This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Hawke's Bay, your community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.